A chill wind blows through the dense forest, carrying whispers of an otherworldly presence. Our tale begins with the Johnson family, nestled in their cozy home, nestled in turn within an expanse of towering timbers and sprawling undergrowth. Their lives, once filled with the predictable rhythms of nature, are now punctuated by strange happenings that defy explanation. In the dead of night, the mournful howl of the wind carries an undertone of something deeper, something sentient. The trees seem to shudder, as if recoiling from an unseen force. The air thickens with an eerie chill, even during the warmest of summer nights. The Johnsons, a family of skeptics, initially dismissed these oddities as mere quirks of the wilderness. The creaking timbers, the flickering shadows, the inexplicable chill. Surely these were just the products of an overactive imagination, stoked by the isolation of their surroundings. Yet as the days turned into weeks, the family's skepticism began to wane. The forest's nocturnal symphony was punctuated by heavy footfalls, too large to be any known creature. The whispering winds carried a mournful, almost human-like cry. The family dog, once cheerful and playful, now whined and whimpered, staring into the forest with wide, fearful eyes. The Johnsons tried to rationalize the inexplicable. Perhaps it was a bear or a pack of wolves. Yet, deep down, they knew that these were not the sounds of ordinary forest dwellers. The air was heavy with a primal fear, a fear that gnaws at the edges of rational thought, a fear that whispers of danger lurking just beyond the veil of understanding. As the family huddled together, their once comforting home feeling increasingly like a fortress under siege, they could not ignore the dread that gripped their hearts. The forest, once a source of solace and solitude, had become a place of mystery and fear. The Johnsons, once dismissive of local legends, now find themselves at the heart of one. In the silence of the night, the ghost of Bigfoot begins to reveal his tale, a tale as old as the mountains he once roamed freely, as deep as the rivers he used to drink from. He was not always a spectre, but once a living, breathing creature of flesh and bone, a creature of immense power, yet gentle as the morning dew. Bigfoot, or as he was known in his life, the guardian of the forest, was a peaceful being. He lived in harmony with the world around him. His days were spent leisurely, basking under the vast canopy of ancient trees, cradling the ebb and flow of life within their roots. His nights were spent under the watchful eyes of the stars, lulled to sleep by the whispers of the wind and the rhythmic hum of the forest. But his tranquility was not to last. The peace of his forest was shattered by the arrival of newcomers. The Johnson family, city folk with a thirst for adventure and novelty, descended upon his home. At first, their presence was merely a curiosity. The guardian watched from the shadows as they built their home, their laughter echoing through the trees. The initial encounters with the Johnsons were filled with fear and misunderstanding. Bigfoot was a creature of legend, a myth, a bedtime story told to scare little children. To see him in the flesh was a shock, a thrill, a terror. The Johnsons reacted as many would, with fear and aggression. The guardian, once a symbol of peace, was now seen as a threat. His large size, his otherworldly appearance, his silent demeanor, all painted a picture of danger in the minds of the Johnsons. The peaceful creature of the forest, who meant no harm, found himself targeted. The Bigfoot, once a guardian of the forest, now finds himself hunted. A tale of harmony shattered, of peace turned to fear, of life turned to death. A tale that now echoes in the silence of the night as a haunting reminder of actions and their consequences. The once peaceful forest becomes a battlefield as fear takes over the Johnson family. In the heart of the forest, the Johnsons, a family of 5, once admired the majesty of nature from their secluded cabin. Now, they found themselves entrapped in the very wilderness they once cherished. Their tranquility was shattered when they first caught sight of the elusive creature known as Bigfoot. Their awe was quickly replaced by terror as they witnessed the size and strength of the beast. The family, once peace-loving and gentle, let fear turn them into hunters. The patriarch John, a man of reason, was the first to suggest it. He argued that the creature was a threat to their safety, that its very existence was an endangerment to their peaceful life. The others, consumed by fear, quickly agreed. Fueled by desperation and fear, the Johnsons turned their home into an armory, their tools into weapons. The children, once innocent and carefree, were now part of this grim mission. They found themselves aiding their parents in setting traps and preparing for the hunt. Their childhood innocence was lost amidst the looming terror of the unknown. The day of the hunt was a blur of adrenaline and fear. The forest, once a haven of tranquility, was now a battlefield. The once mighty Bigfoot, unaware of the danger, fell into their trap. The family, once his admirers, now his hunters, watched as the life drained out of the creature they had feared and hunted. Their victory, however, was tainted with remorse and regret. They looked upon the fallen creature with a mixture of relief and guilt. They had survived, but at what cost? The once peaceful forest was now a graveyard. The Bigfoot's life extinguished by their hands. The wilderness fell silent, as if mourning the loss of its mightiest inhabitant. The Bigfoot falls, his once mighty presence reduced to a mere memory. As the life leaves Bigfoot's body, a new form takes its place. The once physical and imposing creature, a legend of the forest, transforms into something ethereal, something otherworldly. This transformation is not immediate, nor is it painless. It is a process filled with confusion and terror, a mingling of life and death, of the physical and the spectral. Imagine the sensation of your body dissipating, becoming lighter, like smoke in the wind. You look down and realize you have no physical form, no anchor to the tangible world. This is the bewildering reality Bigfoot now faces. His confusion turns into panic, a sense of being lost in a world that was once familiar. He tries to touch, to feel, but his hands pass through everything. He is a specter, a ghost, a phantom. His confusion soon gives way to anger. A rage builds within him, born from the injustice of his untimely death. He was the guardian of the forest, a steward of nature, and he was robbed of his life by the very creatures he sought to protect. His anger burns like a forest fire, consuming his spirit, fueling his need for retribution. But anger, like all things, eventually burns out. And in its wake, acceptance begins to dawn. He is no longer the Bigfoot of old, the guardian of the forest. He is something new, something different. He is a spirit, a ghost. He is no longer bound by the physical constraints that once held him. He is free to move as he wills, to go where he pleases. And so he begins to explore his new form, testing his spectral abilities. He learns to move through walls, to float on the breeze, to become invisible when he wishes. He discovers he can interact with the physical world in ways he never thought possible. In this newfound power, he finds a sense of purpose, a reason for his transformation. He realizes that while he may no longer be the physical protector of the forest, he can still be its guardian in spirit. The Bigfoot, once a protector of the forest, now becomes its haunting spirit. The forest, once a place of peace, now echoes with the spectral roars of Bigfoot's ghost. Where once the Johnson family roamed with rifles and a sense of invulnerability, an eerie silence now prevails, punctuated by the ghostly cries of the creature they once hunted for sport. This spectre of the forest, this phantom of fur and rage, has turned the tables in a most chilling way. The Johnson family, once the predators, now cower within their home, the walls of which can no longer protect them from their past misdeeds. Each night, the haunting begins anew. The wind carries mournful howls that curl around their cabin, seeping through the cracks in the wood, chilling the marrow in their bones. The ghost of Bigfoot, in death more formidable than in life, seeks not to harm, but to haunt. It is a presence they can't escape, a constant reminder of the life they took without thought or remorse. Their dreams are filled with large, sorrowful eyes that bore into their souls, pleading for understanding, begging for forgiveness. The once mighty hunters wake in cold sweats, the echoes of Bigfoot's cries still ringing in their ears. Their hearts pound in their chests, a drumbeat of guilt that matches the rhythm of the ghostly roars outside their window. Daylight brings no respite. The family sees shadows in the corners of their eyes, forms that vanish when directly looked upon. The rustling of leaves, the creaking of branches, every whisper of the forest seems to carry the spectral figure of the Bigfoot they once hunted. Their regret is a tangible thing. It weighs heavy in their hearts, a stone of guilt they can't dislodge, yet it is their fear that truly gnaws at them. The fear of the unseen, the unknown, the unforgiving, the fear of a creature they once believed was beneath them, now holding power over their lives. The Johnson family, once hunters, now find themselves the hunted, and as the sun dips below the horizon, the haunting begins once more, a chilling reminder of the consequences of their actions. The Johnson family, desperate for peace, seek redemption for their actions. In a world where the supernatural and the natural collide, the Johnsons find themselves in a desperate race against time. They begin to realize the grave error of their actions, of the life they took without thought or mercy. The once dismissive family now finds themselves in the throes of a haunting reality, burdened by the guilt of their past actions. Their home, once a sanctuary, is now a battleground, a war zone where the echoes of their past actions reverberate in the form of a spectral Bigfoot. The air is thick with an ethereal chill, a constant reminder of the spirit that now haunts them. The once peaceful forest, now filled with an eerie silence, mirrors their regret. In their desperation, the Johnsons turn to an unlikely source for help. They seek out an old Native American shaman, a man who understands the ways of the forest and its spirits, a man who might hold the key to their redemption. The shaman imparts to them the ancient lore of the forest, the sacred bond between its creatures and the land. He teaches them the language of the spirits, a forgotten tongue that might bridge the gap between the living and the dead, between the Johnsons and the Bigfoot ghost. With newfound resolve, the family embarks on a journey of atonement. They begin to respect the forest, to care for it, to restore it. They plant new trees, clear trails, and clean up the litter left by others. They strive to make amends, to heal the wound they've inflicted on the forest and its guardian. The nights are still fraught with fear, the Bigfoot ghost still restless. But the Johnsons do not falter. Their remorse is sincere, their efforts relentless. They continue to plead with the Bigfoot ghost, speaking in the language of the spirits, asking for forgiveness, yearning for a peace that seems just out of reach. The Johnsons, once dismissive of the forest spirit, now find themselves pleading for its forgiveness. In the heart of the forest, a final confrontation takes place, a place where life and death have danced together for centuries, where a family and a spirit meet in a moment that would define their destiny. Under the canopy of ancient trees, the family gathers, their faces etched with regret and sorrow. They stand before the ethereal figure of the Bigfoot, a spectral giant bathed in moonlight. The family, once hunters, now humble themselves before the spirit of the creature they wronged. The air hangs heavy with anticipation and remorse. The father steps forward, his voice trembling as he begins to speak. With sincerity etched in every word, he apologizes for their actions, for their ignorance, for the pain they've caused. He promises to protect the forest, to respect the life within it, to ensure that their transgressions will not be repeated. As he speaks, the family joins him, their voices uniting in a heartfelt pledge. The Bigfoot spirit, once tormented and raging, now listens. It gazes upon the family, their words echoing in the silent forest, their promises carried on the wind. The spirit feels their remorse, their commitment to change. It senses the truth in their words, the sincerity in their promises. Slowly, the spectral figure begins to glow. A soft, warm light that seems to emanate from its very core, illuminating the forest around them. The family watches in awe as the figure before them starts to dissolve, becoming one with the light. The air around them fills with a sense of tranquility, a peace that seeps into their very souls. In this moment, they understand. They feel the weight of their actions, the depth of their remorse, but also the possibility of redemption. They have been given a chance to make amends, to right their wrongs, to restore the balance they once disrupted. The Bigfoot, once a ghost of the forest, now finds peace and moves on. Its spirit released, it leaves behind a family changed, a forest healed, and a legacy that will echo through the ages.